Now for our amazing speaker. We want to bring forth Jean Walters at this time, who's going to share a word that will lift us and carry us through. Let's welcome Jean Walters.
This is such a great time of year, this Thanksgiving season and Christmas season. I love it. I love Thanksgiving particularly because it's always been my favorite holiday. Is this a good sound right now? Okay. Plato said, one of our great early philosophers, when you feel grateful, you become great and eventually attract great things. Yes. Okay. So what we want to understand in our metaphysical, study is that gratitude is a field of attraction. And one of the things I notice with a lot of people, because I talk to people all the time, is that oftentimes they lead with the victim story, or this is the bad thing that's happening to me today. And I wonder if they really understand what they're doing, what they're creating when they do that, because what we appreciate, what we put attention to, what we love, what we speak is all about attraction. And, as I think Debbie was saying, that she looked for the benefits, the beauty, the blessings that went with an illness that she experienced. And I know that it brought her into a higher energy and allowed her body to heal. Yes, indeed. So gratitude is a field of attraction more powerful than any other attraction, so strong that it cannot help but bring your vision to you. So one of the things I encourage you to do with gratitude is contemplate that vision that you desire, whether it's something career-minded or relationship-minded or family or health or whatever. Imagine it now. Jesus said, when you pray, pray as though it has already happened. That is so powerful because when we live in that knowingness, when we live in that picture of what's already happened, then we draw it to us so quickly. This is how I've created every office I've had. This is how I've created every home that I've had. This is how I've created everything in my life. I just see it first and be there, and then there it comes. And it comes because my voice, my inner voice says, hey, take that walk over there and see what's over there. Okay. And so that's how it happens. By the way, when we're talking about empowerment, anything that is victim-y is disempowerment. So we know that when things have happened in the past, we know that we want to heal from them, and that's all wonderful. But we don't want to live there. We want to live in the knowingness that we can be healed, and we are healed. So I want you to play with me a little bit. I love the practical side of metaphysics. I think that's kind of my reputation in knowing that I can turn metaphysics into something very practical. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to just take a moment and close your eyes, take a deep breath, and hang out with me for a minute. And then I want you to imagine the energy of anger. I want you to imagine an energy of anger that has a color and has a texture and has a feeling. And imagine it like you're looking at a field and you're just seeing this energy of anger, and just notice it. Just notice it. You don't have to be involved. But notice the feeling, the texture, the taste, the smell, all of it. And then when you've got that clear in your mind, I want you to shift it over to peace. And I want you to see the energy of peace. Perhaps it has a different color to it. Perhaps it has a different texture to it. But notice everything, every quality about the energy of peace. And breathe it. And now I want you to move into chaos. And feel the energy of chaos, and feel what happens in your body when you consider chaos. Notice the energy of chaos, the texture, the color, and smell it. And then shift it over to order. Everything is in order. And feel the texture, the taste, the touch, the smell of order. Notice the difference. And then one more. I want you to feel the energy of fear. I want you to notice the quality of energy that goes with fear. The texture, the taste, the smell, the color, everything. Fear. And now, when you fully grasp that, move on to love. And feel love. Feel the quality, the energy of love. Feel the kindness, the beauty, the texture, everything, the smell of love. And as you do this, you begin to understand that every quality has its own texture. And when you're around people, you can sense it. When you're around yourself, you can sense it. So now bring yourself back to this moment, but stay in love. Stay in love. Because love is expansive. And that's what we want. We want to expand love in our world, in our universe. When you do this exercise, I hope you're noticing that your body tightens up. When you're in fear, anger, angst, chaos, your body tightens. And when you open to a greater energy of joy and love, then your body expands, your mind expands. So bring yourself back to this moment. But notice the difference now, because this is a learning experience. We can catch ourselves. We can catch ourselves in tension and go, whoa, wait a minute. So a friend of mine called me, and when I was at a family gathering, she called me, she said, Jean, I need your help. And what is it? And she said, I'm so afraid right now. I'm so afraid. Help me. And I said, well, I'm in the middle of a family gathering. I got all these people here. And I said, I don't think I have time to talk. And she said, well, just tell me something. And I said, okay, move to gratitude. Tell me 3 things you're grateful for right now. Her family, her home, her business. Many things, many, many, many things. I said, stay there and write down a list of gratitude. And the key is you cannot be in fear and love. Impossible. Your mind can only be in one or the other. They can't commingle. How about that for a great understanding? So she chose to live in gratitude, and that pulled her through that day, and she said it was like magic. It was magic. Because that shift helped her. So that's the shift we're talking about today. Because we live in America, we have so many opportunities here. I've traveled the world, and I'm always agog at what we have here. We can say the most obnoxious things and get by with it. We can be crazy and get by with it. We can do all sorts of things and get by with it because we have this mandate that we have a right to be free. And I don't see very many countries. In fact, I'm not sure if I've seen really any that have that quality of freedom. So everything is sort of relative. And when we're years ago, when I made $20,000 a year, I thought, oh, woo, And then, but I was grateful, and that 20,000 led to the next step, which is maybe 40 or 50, and so forth and so on. And we all have had that experience where we start out here with maybe we have a hut or a tent or something, an igloo, and then we start appreciating how much we're so grateful for that, and then it begins to grow, and we buy a house, and then we buy a this and a that, and pretty soon we're always living a beautiful life, but each thing that we appreciate expands. And so we're constantly expanding as we appreciate. By the same token, the opposite is true. When you don't appreciate, when you're putting things down, you decrease. You tighten up, just like you did with fear and chaos. You tighten up. You lose that expression and power of expansion. So that's what this is about today. And I have another experiment for you to try, because I really want you to make this real in your life, so that when you catch yourself in anything other than expansion, you'll shift it immediately. Have a plant, put it in your house somewhere, and then just talk to it every day and tell it what a beautiful plant it is. I have a plant called Harry, and because it's got all these things, it looks like a hairy thing. And my daughter walked into my house. She hadn't seen this plant for a few months, and she said, "Mom, what happened to Harry?" Harry has grown, it started out like this, and now it's this. And I said, I really like Harry. So take a plant and just do that and experiment for yourself. And then take another one and just don't talk to that one. Just set it aside somewhere. And just notice over a month, just 1 month, notice the difference between those two plants. And then you'll get an idea what we do with children, what we do with refugees, what we do with prisoners, Can we look at them and say, oh my goodness, you've had a tough life, something's happened, I bless you. I know that within you is God. And so that's what living in appreciation and gratitude is all about. When we do that in our relationships, and we need to do it as often in the relationship as we do with the plant. You look beautiful today. I'm so happy that we're together. What I appreciate about you is, etc. And so we forget. We get in a little mind pattern and we forget. We get a habit. We forget. So I'm bringing you back to that. Your friendships. Do you tell your friends, you're so cool with this, and that. I just love you so much because of this, and just do it. And if you're afraid to sound silly, then just sound silly. The best words I know of is thank you. I love saying thank you. So sometimes I'd go overboard a bit, but I don't care, And Stuart Wilde, he was a teacher of metaphysics a long time ago, and he said, if someone gives you an ugly tie, then and you know you're never going to wear it, you say, thank you so much because you thought of me when you gave me that tie, and he doesn't say this part, I'm probably never going to wear that tie, but I am going to give it away to someone else because, I appreciate that you did that. And there was a story that I absolutely love, and I always tell it around this time of the year. It was about a desert wanderer, and he wandered the desert, and he looked for things. And one day he came upon this beautiful spring. It was very cool and crisp, and it was fresh, and it was like, oh, this is wonderful. I love this. I know I'm going to take a bottle of this water back, or a jug or whatever, back to my king because I love my king so much. I'm going to take it back as a present. He's going to love it. So he put the water in the thermos or the jug or whatever it was, and he went back 2 or 3 days to get to his king. And he got to the king and he said, oh, I brought you a wonderful gift. And the king said, oh, well, thank you so much. And he gave him the water, and the king drank the water and said, oh, thank you so much, that's so wonderful. And then later, the fellow left, and the people that worked with the king said, could we try the water? Yeah. It was rancid. It was just horrible. And he said, oh my gosh, this is horrible. How could you say thank you to that guy? And he said, no, I didn't thank him for the water. I thanked him for the intention. I love that story so much because it just gives me chills to realize that what we want to give thanks for is the intention. Somebody went out of their way. They did something nice. They helped you. They gave you a compliment maybe. They anything, whatever it was. So I have this little mission. And whenever I'm out and about, I'm just trying to be aware if there's somebody that needs help, So I was at Panera's. And I saw this fellow over here. He was sitting on a bench, and he had eaten his lunch, and he was older, and he had a hard time getting up. And he was like pushing himself forward, trying to get up out of the bench. And he did it 3 or 4 times, and then I went, okay, got it. thanks. And then I went over to him, I said, can I help you? I would love to help you right now. And he said, oh, no, I'm way too heavy. You would not be able to help me. I said, yes, I can. So I put my arm out, I said, just grab my arm and I'm gonna pull you up. And so he pushed, I pulled, and he got up. And I thought, I was so happy. I was so happy, I was so thrilled, because in that moment, I was able to share love. I was able to give something for someone who needed it. It wasn't a big deal, but it helped him. Yay. Yesterday I was at Whole Foods, and there was a woman trying to get out the door with these massive amount of groceries and couldn't get out the door. The cart was too full. She couldn't manage the door. And I said, whoa, wait a minute. And I said, you hold the door and I'll push this out for you. Oh, thank you. And I went, yes, I love this. So those are the things, I saw a little boy on the trail that I walk at the park, and he was only about 4. And he was looking around and he looked scared, and I bent down to him and I said, hi, what's your name? And did you lose your mommy or your daddy? He said, yeah. And I went, okay, well, let's go find him, okay? And so anyway, I just took his hand and started walking back the way he came, And after we walked for a while, there were his mom and dad. I said, well, we were trying to teach him a lesson, not to run away from us. I said, well, your lesson has been taught. Anyway, so yeah, I know it was a little scary, but I knew in my heart that I could help him. I knew in my heart that we would find his parents. I knew I could do it. I knew, come hell or high water, I would figure out a way. So I was grateful that I was there. I was grateful that I got to be that one. So gratitude raises your energy. If you're okay, it's going to make you way okay. If it aligns you to the divinity within you. That's why I get so excited when these things happen, because I know I'm connecting to that divinity. Not that we're not connected all the time, but I want to be so conscious of it. I want to be aware every minute of it. And it expands you, and it lifts your vibrational frequency. And what happens when you lift your vibrational frequency? You can attract anything you want. Just lift your vibrational frequency. Michael Beckwith said, you cannot create anything that you do not vibrationally match. Ponder that for a minute. If you want, don't complain to me about this and that and then say I want to be a millionaire or a billionaire or whatever. Don't complain to me about this or that and then say I want a brand new job and I want it to be A, B, C, and D. You match it vibrationally. Match it vibrationally. So Jesus tells, or there's a story in Luke about Jesus, and when I've taught here before, I love Jesus. Anyway, he was passing through a village in Samaria, and he encountered 10 men, and they had leprosy. And they said, oh, help us, and they cried out, please have mercy. And Jesus healed them. He healed the 10 men with that leprosy. And then he said, now I want you to go to the local priest and be ceremonially cleansed. I guess that would be like a ritual. And they did. And then one of the men returned, though, and he said, he threw himself at Jesus' feet and said, glory to God. Thank you. And I thought about that. I thought there were 10 men that were healed. There was one that came back. Are you the one? Are you the 10, the 9? And so I think it's important that we remember that thank you goes a long way, and to be in appreciation of all the many gifts and the way that God works through your life. This divinity works through your life. The opportunity was that man got to spend a few more minutes with Jesus. And that was a beautiful thing. Probably changed his entire life. So that's a beautiful story. I have one about a guy that owned a carpet store too. I love stories. And this guy was talking to him, and we were gabbing on about different things, and he said the season was coming on, and he said, I did something really amazing one time. He said, what is it? He said, well, I wanted to do something really special this holiday season. So he said, I got $800 and I put it in an envelope. 8 $100 bills. And he said, I knew about this woman that was a single mom, and she was really, really struggling. So I wanted to give her that money, but I had to do it anonymously. So he said, what I did was I put it in an envelope, put it on her front porch, or doorstep, whatever. And he said, then I rang her bell and ran behind the bushes so she couldn't see me. And then he said, I wanted to see her. So she opened the door, and she was, hello, hello. And then she saw the envelope, and she picked it up. I'm like, oh my God, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And he said, it was just like energy, electricity flowing through his body. That was so exciting, And I thought, to this day, he did it a couple years before that. To this day, he's still experiencing the joy of that $800 that he gave away to someone who really, really needed it. And I thought, we don't have to do $800. We can do even smaller than that, or we can do larger than that, but we can do it all the time. We can buy that next guy's cup of coffee. We can do all kinds of cool things. Elizabeth Gilbert says, the best-selling author, Eat, Pray, Love, you need to learn how to select your thoughts just the same as you select your clothes every day. This is a power you can cultivate. If you want to control things in your life so bad, work on the mind. That's the only thing you need to try to control. Yeah, well said, well said. So, what do you most appreciate about your spouse, your significant other? What do you most appreciate about your family, your children? What do you most appreciate, and how can you show it effectively and often? What do you most appreciate about your friends and your health? What do you appreciate? And when you appreciate it, it will increase, okay? So, in summary, first of all, gratitude is a powerful magnet. I'm reminding you, it's a powerful magnet to attract good in your life. And it comes up in so many different ways. I want you to really have your eyes open on this, because we can so take it for granted, but I really want you to pay attention to all the ways it shows up. And faith in action is being, I can't read my writing. Faith in action is being grateful before your good comes to you. Start out the day with gratitude. Okay. So here are 3 things you need to know. Your current situation is great and getting better. Your current life is full of things for which to be grateful right now. Your current results will continually change, grow, and improve. Those are the 3 things. So again, faith in action is being grateful before your good comes to you. So let's see what else I have for you. Because we're at the end, don't worry. I have some action steps. Here are the action steps, because I am very into practicality, and I like it. Let's apply it. Start your day with gratitude. I am grateful for this magnificent day and your continual blessings. Start. Be very clear. I love the color of the trees today. I love that I am bouncing out of bed and have wonderful things to do today. Give thanks throughout the day. And I tell my students 200 times a day. 200 times a day. They look at me like that. 200. And I said, while you're driving, you can go, I'm so grateful for my car. I'm so grateful that I'm on time, and I'm so blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. And then observe things in your life. Observe the changes in your life, because your life will begin to change. So pay attention. It could be the simplest thing. Somebody buys your coffee. A great coupon shows up that is for your very favorite store. You're invited to a party. Whether you go or not is beside the point. Be grateful. The birds are singing. The sun is glorious. Do it. Okay? So that's what it's all about. I want to do one more thing with you. And again, this is to help you get the point of all this. I want you to stand up. Those that can. If you can't, that's okay too. I want you to lift your arms up straight over your head. Straight up, and feel the energy. Feel it. Feel it. Now, I am grateful for health. I am grateful for health. I am grateful for wealth.
I am grateful for wealth.
I am grateful for my friends.
I am grateful for my friends.
I am grateful for my family. I am grateful for the United States of America. I am grateful for my connection to God. And so it is. All right. Feel it? Take it with you. Okay. Okay, one more point, and then I'm going to leave the stage. But this afternoon at 1 o'clock, I will be doing an intro. That really means I'm just going to tell you what the course is about, what we're going to be doing with it, how it's going to work. So I'm not going to actually do a class, but maybe just a mini one. But I really want you to understand what the possibilities are with you take this course, because the whole thing is designed for you to completely shift your frame of reference. Yeah, completely. Like all the stuff you learned growing up, out it goes. Okay, yeah.
And you taught it years ago.
Yeah. Well, I even know more now than I did then. Thank you, dear. Testimonial. Woohoo. All right. Well, anyway, so 1 o'clock, even if you have a mild interest, come on and check it out, and then you'll know whether it's your next step or not. Okay. Thank you.